Alright, hello. Do you know Squarepusher?
There's only one way to listen to this music, and it's like this.
Well, I'm assuming you do because you clicked this video. Anyway, today we're going to be looking at how to do kind of old school Squarepusher drums. There will be a bit at the end where it kind of cuts to the drum track also having bass and a plug-in. But I just want to say now, every technique you see in this video, I just did that for the bass and the pluck too. But yeah, we're going to be focusing on the kind of drum break stuff, kind of inspired by Beep Street, Future Gibbon, and just get into the heavy editing and processing. And yeah, hopefully you find this video useful. This came out a week earlier on my Patreon, and there's some extra bits and bobs on my Patreon too, so if you want, go subscribe. Thank you to my current Patreon subscribers, here you all are. I really appreciate all your support. And yeah, alright, let's get into chopping up breaks and nonsense and effects and blah blah blah. Alright, so we're going to grab this Soul Pride break. This is the one that's used in Beep Street. It's all quantized and everything, and this is how we're mixing it, which, you know, is a bit extreme, but, you know, it works. Then on our MIDI channel, we're going to grab a drum rack and an envelope MIDI. Here we're going to build like a sort of performance multi-effects box, like Infiltrator or React as the Finger. So we're going to have it just be sustain and remote 0 to 100%, turn velocity off, and let's grab a beat repeat. Set it to however you want, and then map the envelope MIDI to the repeat button. And now you can kind of perform with it, but we're going to write it in later. Alright, so we're just going to duplicate that and keep on doing this until we're happy with our effects. So let's bring in another beat repeat. Repeat the process, and yeah, here you go. It's getting quite Future Gibbon now, if you've heard that track. Yeah, alright, now we're going to do it with the reverb. Pull the reverb dry wet all the way down, bring in another envelope MIDI. And let's just draw some notes in for now to see how they sound. And as you can see, we've mapped it to the dry wet, but 100% is a bit much. So we're just going to alter the percentage. Each mapping and each percentage will differ on what effect you want. I mean, that's sounding pretty cool. Alright, so let's just carry on doing it. For this one, we're going to be using an auto filter, but we're going to bring in two envelope MIDIs, one for the dry wet and another one for the filter envelope, so we can kind of have a sound to it like that. So like I said, it all kind of depends on what effects you're using, but you know, we're getting there. It's sounding pretty cool considering that the audio is just 5 bars of a unfiltered drum loop going through this kind of multi-effects box. And we're going to do this again, but with a high pass. And on filter 1, you can see we've got 100 to 0%, so we're going to reverse that for this one because we're going to be pulling up. So we go from all frequencies to just the high ones. And it works. Sweet. And again, you can use plugins and Infiltrator and stuff. Oh, wait. Spectral Resonator. This one's really cool. It's a bit more Aphex Twinny than Squarepusher, I think, but it's good to have there anyway. So we're just going to try and find that kind of gross tonal sound. Like that. The quantize button really brings out that kind of window licker EP sound, and again, I know this is a Squarepusher video, but it still sounds good. We're also going to bring in an auto filter and put it onto the resample mode just to make it sound old and bit crushed and like it's from a shitty sampler. We're going to use one envelope MIDI and just go into the mapping menu, repeat the process and map that to the filters dry wet as well as the spectral resonators dry wet. Alright, and now we're just going to add a phaser flanger, some feedbacky raw. It's the same process for every single one of these. And also, in the project file, this effect rack will be there, or drum rack, I should say. It sounds fucking stupid. Alright, now on our sample, we're going to right-click it and split it into eighth notes in MIDI. I've got a video on how to make your own chopping racks and stuff like that. I'll link it here. We're going to make sure that volume to velocity is at 100%. Right click and copy value to siblings so they're all the same, and start drawing in some drum patterns in eighth notes. We're going to try and make this one sound a bit like Beep Street, or is it Bleep Street? Either way, I'm going to try and have that be the outcome. And here we're just kind of testing out that effect rack with this MIDI pattern. So now we're going to write another 3 drum patterns. And then we're going to use follow actions to play them one after another and resample them. Alright, cool. Now that's done, we're going to bring it into the arrangement view. And here, we're just going to edit the audio constantly. We're going to chop bits up, reverse bits, stretch bits. If you're going to do time stretching stuff, go into the texture mode. And on grain size, I like to keep it quite small. I also like to automate the grain size. We're also going to do these kind of tape stoppy automation curves with the pitch parameter. Again, use texture or complex. The tape stop effect might be a bit outdated now, but it was definitely used a lot in the kind of drill and bass or breakcore music of the time. So we're just going to keep doing that. Reverse some bits, automate some stuff into the sends. Here we are. A little bit of compression just to round off that sound. Don't be afraid of the triplet grid either. Weird offbeat triplet fills seem to be a big thing. Alright, now we're going to use our trigger MIDI effects properly so we can have it kind of built into the arrangement view. And again, it's a lot of trial and error, a lot of experimentation, seeing what works, what doesn't. Here's what we got. Next important thing is a 909 ride. Seems to be a lot of this in Squarepusher stuff, always on the quarter note, which, you know, sounds really nice. It gives us a sense of pulse. We've kept that out of the MIDI effect chain for a minute. However, we will be putting it back in because we're resampling all of this. And then we're going to edit that resample like we did with the original chopped up drum break. So we're going to keep chopping, and that seems to be a good way to do this. We're going to add more effects onto the whole thing now, keep chopping it again, and then do another resample so we can then chop all of this up too.
Never stop chopping.
Alright, now that we've got that, we're going to consolidate it, repitch it, and we're going to add some bass tracks. We're going to do 3 bass tracks, chop them up, and we're going to add a little pluck. Here's what it's like. I didn't want to go through it because this video is more about the drums. Most of it's just random patterns consolidated and chopped up. However, we're going to resample that and keep editing. Never stop fucking editing. You're going to always want to edit when it comes to this stuff, and just keep resampling your whole track and then edit it again and resample that and edit it again and resample that and edit it again and edit it again and edit it again.